prayer and then the pledge, please. Our dear Heavenly Father, first of all, we do thank you, Lord, for just being the awesome God that you are. Father, we just thank you for this wonderful country, Lord. We just thank you for the people that you have placed in authority over us, Lord. We pray for our law enforcement officers. We pray for our EMS, Lord. We lift up all our first responders, Lord. And we thank you for our military. We thank you for this government. We thank you for the people of Gulf County, Lord. We continue to pray a special blessing upon their lives, Lord. And we continue to thank you, Lord, for sending us the resources, sending us the people, Lord, to help get this county, this community, the Panhandle, Father, back to where it once was. Father, we give you the praise, we give you the glory, and we give you the honor. It's in Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, welcome everyone to January 31st, 2019 special meeting. We got about 4 things on the agenda to cover. And then I asked the commissioners if they have anything they would like to share or talk about also. So we'll go ahead and move right on to item A, Hurricane Michael update, administrative report. Mr. Hammond.
Mr. Chairman, I'll take the first one if
Yes,
I
sir.
can. Public assistance consultant. As you all recall, right after the hurricane, we had an emergency procurement. We went through FEMA in their direction. We secured bids from public assistant consultants, and you contracted with Horn LLC. That contract in that 90 days coming up on its expiration, and we are going out to bid, as you authorized earlier this month, to procure a long-term public assistant consultant. But what we'll need to do is ask for the commission to authorize a change order to extend them 30 days so they can continue to assist administration and staff with the recovery as our consultants. And then ideally at the end of this month, we'll come back with recommendations for you all to authorize us to do a long-term contract with either Horn or another group that the staff recommends.
All right, thanks, sir. Any commissioners, any questions for Mr. Novak in reference to this public assistance consultant? All right, I entertain a motion that we extend them 30 days, correct?
Yes, sir.
So moved. Motion by Commissioner McDaniel.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Rogers. Any further board discussion on this? All right, anyone in the public on this, extending this contract for 30 days? All right. Any opposition to the motion? Motion passes 5-0. All right. Landfill status?
Chairman, I'm going to let Mr. Cothran talk about the purchase of the tractor
Okay.
state contract, and then we'll talk about where we're going to pay for it.
Yes, sir.
Good morning, Chairman, Mr. Commissioners.
Good morning.
So at a couple meetings ago, we had brought up to you about reopening the landfill to take in chips, limb debris from the storm debris. And what we have is already in inventory is one D5 Caterpillar dozer, and then we had a track loader. And I was thinking that we could keep up with the amount of trucks, and we did for a little while. Well, they've ramped up. We were getting 20 to 22 trucks a day, 140 yards apiece. They've ramped that up now to 53, 55 trucks a day, and then DRC started hauling yesterday afternoon, and they're going to be full blast today. So we're going to have it to tune, I would assume, 75 trucks a day. One dozer is not able to keep up with it. Our dozer that we have is 13 years old. It's 2006 model. It's currently working, but if barring any breakdowns or shutdowns with either one of the other 2 tractors, we would be in a serious bind to the point of not being able to intake chips. So I had a conversation with the administrator. We looked at several different options, one from renting to buying to actually getting a contractor to come in and help. And overall, the way that the county can purchase on state contract for such a reduced rate for a tractor, it is more beneficial to the county to purchase a tractor outright and have one when we're done. So that's the route we went. I actually have one borrowed right now that I'm using on a demo, which will be the tractor that I'm going to recommend to you today that we buy. It's a 2019 Caterpillar D6. It is all inclusive. All the cost is $184,564. We purchased off the state contract. That price also includes, above the price of the tractor, is a safety screen for the back glass and a bumper to bumper or blade to rear of tractor warranty. So which is in the $1,600. It's $1,612.99. $1,612 for the warranty. So all that together, it's $184,564. And total,
Handle the fund.
do what?
We're gonna pay for capital projects.
We're gonna pay for it out of the capital projects fund. You got a number? It's the capital projects fund.
So, Mr. Chairman, what we need to do is, the way that's set up, we need to actually adjust the capital projects fund and add that back in. This tractor was in there, or a tractor like this was in there a couple of years ago, we took it out, so it's a two-step process. We will adjust it now, have that in probably your next consent agenda to adjust the capital fund, and then we will actually make the purchase out of the capital fund.
Okay.
We'll move the money from somewhere else at a later time.
If I could, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Michael, do you feel like the revenue we're gonna generate off that landfill was more than?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And the positive thing is, we would have bought this similar type tractor, maybe one size smaller 2 years ago, had we had plenty of money, but we didn't. And now we're to the point that we gotta have it, and it's much lower price than what, 100,000 less than what I thought we could buy it, and it is running circles around. Maybe after the meeting, we can go out there and take a tour of the landfill, but it's a massive project, and just one size up. I think we got a D5, this is a D6. It's night and day difference in the amount of material they can move, so.
Okay. Any other commissioners, questions? All right. Mr. Mashers.
So we need three things in the motion, I think. Chair, correct me if I'm wrong. We need to agree to buy this off a state contract. We need to agree to adjust the capital fund to put this purchase in the capital fund, and we need to actually pay for it, purchase it from the capital fund.
I'll do a budget amendment at the next meeting.
All right.
Need a motion?
Yep, we need a motion. All right, motion by Commissioner McCrone, second by Commissioner Rich. Any further board discussion on purchasing this tractor and moving the money around? All right. Anyone in the public on this? Anyone in the public? All right, any opposition to the motion? Motion passes 5-0. All right, Mr. Hammond, you still have the floor.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. We still don't have an extension. We think we're gonna get one today. So I would like to get board's permission for staff to be able to set that timetable based on what Secretary Gaynor tells me later in a phone call, whether it be 4 weeks or 6 weeks, but I would think it's gonna be in that range extension for folks to put it on the side of the road and to put that out to the public when we get that. Barring that call today, the deadline will be at the end of today. So if the board could approve me to have that authority to set an extension if and when we get that call.
All right, I entertain the motion.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Commissioner Rogers.
Second for discussion.
All right, second by Commissioner McCrone. You have the floor, sir.
Ms. Hammond, if we could, I would strongly encourage to go to the 6 weeks, it's over the 4, if you've talked to your secretary, so.
And again, and that, if we can talk, we've got some folks in that want to talk. I know commissioners have some input. It's been a stressful, probably week, and I've stressed out the contractors worse than anything else, the monitors and the contractors and DOT. But we're probably, I feel confident we're going to get an extension, but our extension is probably going to be different than Jackson County's. It's going to be different than some of our other counties that weren't hit as hard. May County's extension may be much longer. It may be 6 months. And again, it's a little bit different in Bay County because DOT is not running that process. They're running that process, but we're trying to all work together, but there's a lot of moving parts.
Right.
You know, something they picked up yesterday won't be picked up today, and that, you know, commissioners don't understand that, and I don't understand that. So we may want to call on, I know Metric's got representatives here, Ashbrit's here. I know what y'all expressed to me, and y'all may want to express to them that y'all want all the trees that are leaning cut. And that's what I've talked to Secretary Gaynor about. Somebody's going to get killed, and we're arguing about money, and we need to be arguing about public safety. And it's not just Cuff County, it's Jackson County, it's Calhoun County, where these leaning trees over mainly state roads, but we've got a lot on county roads, that we're arguing the semantics about, does the tree start on private property and end on public property, or how much they're going to pay somebody to cut that tree, or if they're going to pay them at all to cut the tree. And we need the trees cut. That's number one, public safety. The other issue that's come up lately, we had, you know, basically Cat 5 hurricane that has devastated our area. It's something that is, you know, never in our lifetime that we've seen. They were hauling commercial debris for the first couple of months, no questions. They tear down the Burger King, it's all gone. They tear down the Exxon station, it's all gone. They tear down whatever, X, Y, Z. And then suddenly, they tear down the Pate service station and they won't haul it off, and it's already on the side of the road. We had good conversations yesterday. We had 3 state senators that sat in my office. All that crap's coming off the right of way, every bit of it, every single piece of it. And this stuff about, well, we're not going to haul this today, or we're not going to haul that today, or we're not going to haul concrete. That's the latest thing that come up. So we're going to sort that out. It's been a trying time, but we're going to get all of this stuff off the right of way. And it's going to be in Bay County and Guff County the same way, and Jackson's still a mess too. Their extension's going to be different. So we've got the folks here to ask questions. We're all on the same team, but we've got to get somebody with DEM and DOT to make the call, because at the end of the day, the state, whether it's a DOT or the state emergency fund or FEMA, is going to pay for this stuff. But we've got to get it going, and we want it cleaned up as quickly as possible. And that's why, there are going to be different timelines. But I agree with Commissioner McCrone. If we can get 6 weeks, I think that would be very good.
All right.
Can you ask for longer? Can you ask for 90 days?
I think we can. I think the problem's going to be is this, and we met with, I met with, I call him secretary, but I guess it's Director Moskowitz for over an hour the other night. He's going to probably ask, I think he already has asked FEMA for this 90-day deal, but you can't get 90 days to put it on the side of the road and get it hauled off. I mean, at 90 days for the whole shebang to be finished. I mean, and that's what we're running on the FEMA timeline is. Not only do people have to pick it up, Ashbred or DRC or whoever, and take it to these laydown yards, they also have to process it and haul it off. And it'd be done in that time. So there's no way that if we only get a 90-day extension from FEMA, there's no way we can let people put it on the side of the road for another 90 days. There's got to be a drop-off point. So my guess is that we're going to be half or less of whatever that extension that Director Moskowitz gets from FEMA. Short answer.
Thank you.
Any more commissioners, any questions, concerns? I'm assuming we need to bring up Ashbred metrics.
Please.
Right about now. Okay, all right. Go turn, anybody from Ashbred, come on up, sir.
Morning, guys.
Come on.
What you need to know today?
Go ahead and state your name, who your representatives.
Stand the video, Ashbred.
Okay.
If you could give the board an update on where we are. I know we've had a bunch of talks about cutting trees, and you can give a little bit update of that.
Yeah,
Talk
most
about
of
alleys
the
and
leaning trees have been removed. We've got 386, we've done 90% of them. The ones that are left are a little off the right of way, so we were trying to hope the right of entry program might get rid of the rest of those. So that's been voted on and passed, so hopefully that'll take care of the rest of those. And we're still just doing our final passes right now. We're working diligently. We're at 1.5 million yards to date, and we're just going to keep going until we're told not to go. That's what we're doing. So we're getting everything we can get.
Give me the definition of a leaning tree, the ones that you hadn't cut, 'cause I went down the Overstreet Road the other day and I still see 100 need to cut.
Yeah, those are the ones that are off the right of way.
And there's some between here and White City. And I was driving down today. And
That's state road.
I understand, but I just.
Yeah, they're
you know,
out there. We know they're out there. So hopefully the right of entry program will get rid of the rest of those.
What kind of timeline? Because I want to cut months ago. I want to cut 2 months ago. I want to cut immediately.
Yeah.
For safety.
Sure. Well, I don't know if we can start right away on the ROE program.
the right of entry's in. I hope that we'll get a order from DOT saying to cut all these trees immediately, for dangerous trees that are gonna fall and kill somebody. I don't give a dang if it's on private property to start with or not. We need to cut the trees. I mean, it's no different with the house burning or anything else. We need to fix those immediate problems now. The right of entry program's in. I think we're gonna get GIS to print some maps on 386 too, because the right of way on 386 is much wider than normal. So I think some of these ones that people think are on private property most of which is Deseret, and they've given us the right to cut it, but it is actually on state right away. And the other thing is, and this is something that's quirky, but there's a lot of areas on Highway 71, especially through White City, going through the bridge, it's 200-foot right away. So I mean, way up in the yard is still state right away. So we probably need to produce some of those. And again, that's not your problem, it's DRC's problem, but again, it's Gulf County's problem. And it's not just Gulf County that has this problem. I'm going to assure you that I've talked to Calhoun County Commissioners. Gene Bailey is, ready to give hammers to somebody too, and the same in Jackson County. When we came back from Jackson County after that meeting with the governor the other day, they probably have a worse hanging tree problem on 73 than we do. So, but at the end of the day, all of them are going to get cut. And we've been arguing who's going to pay, and we need to cut them, and we'll figure out who's going to pay later.
Hey, Michael, while we're talking about right of entry, and let's go ahead and dive into this about Mexico Beach and, them getting okay to tear down uninsured houses. And, y'all probably have to, I've had 100 phone calls, why we're not getting the same treatment in Gulf County. And can you explain that and what's going on with it?
And Danny, you may want to sit down for this. We won't beat you up anymore.
Hold on, before you explain, I want to ask Danny about the alleys. We're gonna make sure we're gonna take care of the alleys, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
They'll definitely, everything will be done.
okay, for sure. All right, thanks.
Yeah, I've had several calls on the alleys on North Side, and we need to get those smaller vehicles in there, and they promised me they'll pick that up. Again, it's been a stressful about 5 days dealing with folks, and I probably need to apologize a bunch because I haven't been nice all the time, but we're all on the same team, whether it's DOT or Metric or Ashbred or DRC, but it is extremely hard for me and your staff, Warren. I think Warren's had less patience recently than I have, which I like. That's good. But if we had a book that said these are the rules, and this is what they're going to be, and they don't change, and this from day one, this is how we're going to go forward, that'd be wonderful. But we're dealing with the federal government, and different rules for different places, different rules on different days. They pick up commercial one day, they don't pick up commercial. It's according to what the inspector says, according to what this page of the DEP book says. We have been told consistently from FEMA that they will not go on private property and tear down houses. Period. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So, and I think our Horn representative's here, whatnot. We had an interesting meeting. He's going to come up in a little bit and give us an update. We've been told consistently for that. And so we've tried, we were told at one time that they'll clean 100 feet around the house. We had somebody come to that podium from FEMA and say, they're going to clean 100 feet around the house. And then when it came down to the nuts and bolts of doing this right of entry program, they don't do that anymore. They're going to clean the front closest to the highway, and you got to, mortgage your first kid, and this, that, and the other, and you got to prove all these things. So that's discouraging. And I'm proud for Al in Mexico Beach, and I'm proud for those folks. But it's extremely discouraging if it comes to fruition. And I still haven't been told that it has been approved. I mean, sometimes you do stuff and then don't get approved, and FEMA de-obligates and all that kind of stuff. But for folks that have been responsible and that didn't have insurance, but they've been responsible and cleaned their property and done what we told them to do, because that's what we were told to do by FEMA. Push your stuff to the road and we'll pick it up. Hire a contractor to push your stuff to the road, push your house that you've lost all your life's savings and possessions in, push it to the road and we'll haul it off. And that's basically all we're going to do for you, push your trees to the road. And then 3.5 months into the game, we said, well, if you wait a long time, the federal government will come back and we'll change the rules and we'll tear your house down and push it to the road and haul it off for you, and you won't have to pay anything. So that's what we've been dealing with. No different than they were hauling off concrete slabs for houses for months, and now they're not. And they were hauling off commercial stuff, and now they're not. And then it gets so nitpicky. Again, I live in White City. I've got 3 lots that face Charles. I had crap from one end to the other, trees and stuff in my shed that was ruined. And they picked up probably 5 truckloads of crap on my street right in front of me. You know what they left? A bicycle tire and an inner tube from that bicycle tire. So some inspector went through that pile of 5 dump truck loads of stuff and picked out something that weighed about 4 ounces. So, I mean, that's the kind of, we've got to the point now, if there's a green leaf on a tree, they won't haul it off. Well, it's on the side of the road. I mean, it's going to get hauled off at some juncture, but you know, if it's got a green leaf, well, some people that have the tree that's fell, some of the tree's still alive, some of it's not. You cut the whole tree, you don't just haul off the part that was dead yesterday and the other part that'll be dead in 2 weeks. You haul it all off. So that's what we're trying to work through. It's been very challenging to be nice about it. But I do think we all are on the same team, our haulers, our inspectors, DOT, but we've got to have somebody, meaning Director Moskowitz, meaning the governor, who's been wonderful, but far above everybody's expectation. The new DOT secretary, which we haven't met yet, but we hear good things about, that's going to make the decision that says, we're going to haul all this stuff off. This was our Katrina. They hauled it all off, 100%. They're not going to leave anything on the side of the road because I'm living in the real world. Y'all live in the real world. If it's on the side of the road, it ain't gonna stay there forever. Guess who's gonna pick it up? Somebody. If it's on the DOT right away, the DOT's gonna wind up picking it up one way or the other. And if it's on the county right away, if they won't, if FEMA won't, who's gonna pick it up? Mr. Coffin. So we gotta have some common sense in the process. That's what we've lacked early on, not on our level, but higher up. Now, I got it pretty point blank. Most of y'all got to hear it from the horse's mouth yesterday from the senators, especially Senator Gaines. They're going to clean it up. They're going to pay for it. They're going to haul it off. They want it done as quick as possible. And if we can't get results, they're just going to keep going on higher up. So I expect good things from our meeting yesterday. I expect a call from Secretary Gaynor. Talked to him twice, once before and once after the meeting yesterday. But in the end, we got to have common sense from all sides.
All right, thank you, sir. Any commissioner, any questions? Yes, yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, the phone calls and the personal visits that I've met with people, and they told me that they would really like, when they started cleaning up, started one end of the road and go to the other, not get a little here, a little there, and do 100% cleanup on that road. You know, if you got one debris truck that's doing, I guess, vegetation, the other one's mixed or whatever construction debris, get it all. You know, team up and let's clean the town up and let's clean the county up. Because I think it's drug on too long. You know, that's the way I feel. Just in my area. So that's what I'm asking for, a speedier cleanup. But get it all. And don't leave anything behind, including tires.
In defense, on my end of the county, we've still got a lot of people that are just settling with insurance. And I mean, we've got a ton of houses that are still coming down. So it's not gonna be a quick, you know, we're not gonna look next month and it's all gonna be gone. You're fooling yourself if you think that, but because there's still a lot of people out, houses now, they're finding out they've settled, they're shifting, they've been shifted on the foundation, and they're gonna have to come down before it's over with. So that's my thought.
Yeah, just to echo on that, I've been having a couple phone calls about, you know, it ending today also, but like I say, still insurance claims are still out there floating around, and they're waiting to hear back from the insurance company, waiting on the adjusters to come through it and say, hey, all right, tear it down. So I'm in that same boat also. But I do want to say that, you know, if you ride around town 3 months ago, it looked bad. It's starting to look good in a lot of areas. You know, we still got a long ways to go, but it's starting. The communities are starting to clean up and be houses. So we have come a long way, but we still got a long way to go. Just to, you know, what I'm saying that add that in. But eventually, hopefully, you know, what I'm saying, keep talking to the senators, and eventually we're gonna get it all picked up. But like I said, it's not gonna. It might be 2 months from now, but eventually we're gonna get there. All right. Any other commissioners or any questions? All right, we got a motion on the floor made by Commissioner Rogers, second by Commissioner McCrone. Correct. All right. Metric. We'll bring Metric up for anyone from Metric. Let's state your name and who you represent, please, sir.
My name's
name's Alan Bush, and I work with Metric. I know most of y'all anyways.
Yeah.
We had come down Tuesday and met with Mike and Warren, and I think we had a really, really good meeting. We got some issues resolved and a lot more questions asked. But the concrete issue, if the word didn't get back to you, at least on our end, that's taken care of. We're good on that.
Good deal. So we're picking it up
Yeah,
this morning.
picking it up at C&D, and I know at least with your Ashbrook, the Ashbrook contract, they have the ability to haul it either as cubic yards or by tonnage. They might want to switch over to tonnage, and then y'all didn't mention it, but Ronna did that you might want to have that concrete for some county use. I don't know.
What we want to do, and this is our problem, and again, your meeting was probably the best, I know it was tough to start with. It ended the best, and I like you, and I like you folks, and most of you folks, not all you folks, but most of you folks. And we've got more, certainly with that, we've gotten more out of that meeting than a lot of our other meetings before. So, and we agreed to meet more often. He's a Washington County Commissioner for the public's knowledge too, so he understands both sides of the deal. What we wanted to facilitate for the county is we want it hauled off the fastest and the cheapest for DOT, the cheapest for the federal government, the cheapest for us. And since Guff and Franklin doesn't have a landfill open, a class 1 landfill to take the storm debris, it's having to be hauled to Jackson County. And so if we can speed up the process and save everybody money, then we can work out something where we can use the product at some juncture. You know, I'm assuming if DRC or Ashbrook gets it, they're gonna have to demetal it or, you know, get the stuff out of it and crush it, however they do that. I've seen the machines work before, but the finished product we can use. So, I mean, we can take that for free instead of hauling it 150 miles round trip and paying a huge tipping fee. So we will facilitate that to speed up the process and make it cheaper if it makes the train run faster. It's what we offered. So Mark will definitely do that.
And we'll work however we need to. I don't know if there's somewhere that's got some scales or what we need to do to make sure that it's going to
We got
improve
scales.
final disposal or whatever the need check all the boxes for FEMA. We'll do that. I do want to start out by saying, in a couple of counties, Metric has sort of gotten I don't know, I won't say a black eye, but our name gets thrown around in sometimes a negative way. And I don't think it would be the case if the state wasn't paying for the pickup. If the county was responsible for the pickup and the payment of that pickup, and I'll speak just on Washington County's behalf, we would be a lot more aware of what is eligible and what's not eligible if we knew the county, which in our county, of course, we would have to take out a significant line of credit to fund these pickups, because we just don't have that in our coffers to put 10 million out, you know. But if we were looking at possibly having $1 million or $2 de-obligated, you know, that's when you really want your monitoring firm to step up and say, look, know that there's a good chance this isn't eligible, you know. And some of our monitors and supervisors may be a little overzealous on, you know, of course, I'm probably a little underzealous because I wear part of the time the same cap y'all do, and you tend to want to lean more towards your constituents, and if you can bend the rule a little bit to help them, that's what you tend to do. Whereas when you're looking to make sure your client is getting back every dollar that they've expended, and you don't want any chance of being de-obligated, you tend to be a little stricter. So we've got a meeting today with DOT at 11. And I think that's really going to be a good meeting, and I sure hope it is. We got some good folks coming down for it from DOT. I worked with DOT for 26 years, so I know that side of it too. But you've got some good folks coming down from DOT, and I hope that you'll be as blunt and as straightforward as you were with us, because on some of this, we take our direction from them. We're kind of in between. Of course, we want to make Gulf County happy, but at the same time, we have to make them happy. But all they have to do is give us a nod, and we're good to go.
Right.
You know, we'll do whatever they want us to do. As far as leaners and hangers, I don't know. We just, Frank and I are kind of, we've talked about it all week, and we talked about it in our staff meeting yesterday. We have got to somehow or another, we're following DOT's direction, but, and part of what we were given, they didn't want to start the leaner and hanger process until we had at least one pass done. Well, one pass is done. And if we need to staff up more, well, then we'll staff up more. If we need to train more people in the leaner hanger process, we'll train more people in the hanger process. But we've got this not just in Gulf County, we've got this in multiple counties where you've got these leaning trees that are truly a hazard, and they're there. And if there's anything that we could have provided DOT more, it probably would have been better advice as far as let's try to make these, almost like a train thing. A lot of times you can't get leaner hangers till you get stuff off the shoulder of the road because you can't get the bucket trucks off on the shoulder to get to the hanger or the leaner. But those are going to be worked on. That's for sure.
That is a good description. Blunt was probably a light, a substantive meeting. It was a great meeting. It was very blunt. And I guess you played good cop, Frank played bad cop or whatever. But what Frank said was exactly right. Because when we got down to it, because I'm arguing, Commissioner Rich is calling me 10 times a day about these trees and we're going to get sued. So and at the end of the day, Frank said, this is what the dang book says. Now we're going by the book. I mean, I can't argue with that. And I can't argue with some of this stuff's going to get deobligated and the state's going to wind up paying. And we're just in the same boat as Washington County. We would not be able to do this, but for a couple of days, we'd be broke. But also, we're looking politically and more so on the trees, life safety. I mean, not just us. And I think Secretary Gaynor certainly understood that last night, and I hope that we're going to have some good news at this meeting with that. But I appreciate y'all, and I've been rough. I've been rough on Metric, and it's certainly not personal, certainly not rough on you, but some of you inspectors. But we are on the same team, and I appreciate y'all's patience. And I appreciate y'all understanding that when I'm getting old, about the 15th time that I'm gonna gnaw harder than I probably should, and then I'll apologize, feel bad about it the next day.
That's fine. And Warren called me yesterday about one, and I told him, I said, if we can wait till tomorrow, let me get down there. And of course, when I went by there and we looked at the Constitution Park, that was a given.
We drove by, I think Commissioner McCrone was with me, and that was, again, that's common sense, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate Frank, because when you get hit in the head by the book enough times and you say, well, this is really what the book says, and I mean, I'm following the rules. I'd be in trouble if I was breaking the rules. So, and in the end, and that's basically what we asked the senators, and that's what I asked Secretary Gaynor yesterday, is we need y'all to, let's get it on. Let's get it. And because the state or the feds or whoever, Trump's going to come down and somebody's going to pay. It won't be DOT and it won't be Gulf County in the end. But what the president's done and what the governor has done has already saved the state of about $250 million from the 45-day deal. And at the end of the day, it's all going to get cleaned up one way or the other. But I appreciate you. And I appreciate your patience more. And it's great news about the slabs because we got a bunch of them.
The only thing that when I was working through that yesterday, the only thing I could think of is they look to have some type of proof that it's going to an approved final disposal site. And we may need to work on that somehow or another, but don't. The other thing that some of the FEMA guidelines emphasize is they really like to see materials recycled wherever possible. Well, that's a great example is when you got concrete. If you can recycle it and utilize it somewhere else, that's perfect.
Be wonderful. And one other question I've got, and it may not, you may can answer it or Ashbert may answer it, but we got a call yesterday. I got a call from Vic. And I think Ashbert answered the question, but you can. This storm debris can't be taken to a C&D or a Class 3 landfill. It's got to go to a Class 1. Is that the case?
I don't know that.
David, do you want to come back up?
Yeah, because it's got all kinds of.
Calhoun County has a Class 3 or a C&D that's much closer than the one they're hauling to in Jackson County.
Their permit isn't It won't.
So that's why we're not-
There's too much material, the beds, and it's, all kinds of stuff that's mixed in, couches and stuff, they don't allow.
So it's not a choice.
Right.
That's the permit, and
It's their permit.
so we're taking it to the closest place
We'll
we
take
can
it to
dispose
waste
of it.
management, because they have the proper permit.
Okay.
So two mix.
Yes, it's two mix.
Can I just want to?
Come on up to the podium. Make sure you state your name, who you represent, please.
My name is Frank Day. I'm a metric engineering. And since I'm the bad cop here, I don't have to sugarcoat anything, so I'm going to tell you kind of the long and the short of it really quick. Yes, we have that book that we have to go by, but more important, we have your contract that we have to go by. And I would encourage you, when you do another debris removal contract, because it will happen again, consult with others that have experience in it and can help you write a really good ironclad contract. And I'm not down your contract, but it is kind of poorly written in places. And if you'll ask me, I'll help you free. Alan will help you free. I'm sure Danny will help you free. I mean, we're all in this together, but when it comes time to doing something, that contract is what binds us. Because the first thing that FEMA wants, they say, give me your project worksheet with all your expenditures and give me the contract that you are working under. And the work that is done has to agree with the contract. And you just don't do work that's not in accordance with the contract, or nobody gets any money. And it's easy to say now, we just gonna do it all, worry about the money later. Well, 3 or 4 years, now somebody be worried about that money. Because that'll come home to roost. Everybody wants all the reimbursement that we can get. And it all starts with that contract. So when you write another contract, let us hit you, and Dan won't do it for free. We'll send somebody else. But there's a lot of good advice out there. And we have run into this in a number of counties, and all the contracts are written differently, and they all have different language, and some of them are not. We argue back and forth with Ashburn all the time, but he's right. And what he's saying, but just because he's right doesn't mean you can change the contract. So that's kind of where it starts.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
All right.
Washington County's contract is real bad.
Well,
So,
and again,
Feel bad. Just every one of them.
All right.
And they're all, like you said, all of them are written different, and but it would be nice. And what's bad, Northwest Florida Regional Planning Council wrote probably half of the ones we're working under, and they're all written with the same mistakes and the same things that are absent. And
Well, ours was like, I believe 9 years old, maybe 10 years old, and we had used it once in the oil spill. But they've come up with stuff we wouldn't even think of 10 years ago. E-waste wasn't in there. So anything, the cell phone, computer, what is e-waste? And then they've got something that you just can't have refrigerators and stuff. You got petrified, putrefied. Putrescent now. So they can't, and that's what's hard to explain. You get one refrigerator from a next door neighbor, but they don't pick up the one next door. Well, one of them had an apple in it or a cow or something, and the other one was clean. So, I mean, they pick up the clean, but they don't pick up.
but
So
your contract, if I'm not mistaken, has
we added it. We did an amendment.
putrescent in it by the pound,
Above the pound.
$7.90 a pound.
We didn't do the cows.
If I
Because that was
if I had to
really
have
expensive.
handle a pound of that, I'd want more than $7.90.
I agree. We appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
But I can give y'all the card. Any of y'all want to get up with me or call me? I'm Doug Ward. He knows how to get up with me, but and Jimmy does too, Commissioner Rogers. But y'all just call and we've got that open line of communication now. I don't think we have a problem. I look forward to meeting them that.
Thanks, sir. All right. Any other ideas?
If you want to just go ahead and carry the motion, and Jeremy's got something else, and then we'll get Horn to come up.
Okay. All right. Got a motion by Commissioner Rogers, second by Commissioner McCrone. Any further board discussion on this? Anyone else in the public on this? Anyone else in the public? Any opposition to the motion? Motion passes 5-0.
Mr. Chairman, if Alex wants to come up real quick.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, good morning. Alex Yarbrough, Horn LLP, Commissioners.
How you doing?
I think Administrator Hammond generally covered our main focus this week, which has been coordinating on some of the issues that came up in the debris removal process. Our scope is somewhat limited in that the state has assumed a portion of the county's contract, but we have been coordinating on the private property and the private road process. We understand the concerns that arose regarding what's happening in Mexico Beach, and we'll be glad to coordinate with county administration on, at the very least, submitting a request package to FEMA for similar treatment of substantially damaged personal property structures that pose a threat to health and safety. We'll be glad to work through that process and, at the very least, get the ask up to FEMA for a determination to be made. As the administrator, we've heard reports that FEMA has approved this process. In the world of disaster recovery, sometimes what is reported and the actual written approval and the parameters of that can get a little bit muddled. So we don't have specific visibility on exactly what has been approved, but we will certainly work to ensure whatever costs can be recovered and that FEMA will cover are sought for reimbursement. In addition to that, we're continuing to coordinate with FEMA on identifying all the other damaged property that is under the responsibility of the county to, again, ensure that whatever the county's insurance will not pay for and any additional hazard mitigation improvements that can be made, that FEMA will cover those costs. Having said that, I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Both of the right of entry programs have been turned into the state to be executed?
Yes, they've both been submitted to the state for FEMA's approval.
Okay. You want to give them the grand total? It's 27 million. What are we at so far? Maybe higher than that now.
Our estimated damage inventory was roughly at about $27 million. We have some late additions that we're putting on there. A lot of these are estimated amounts, and a lot of these amounts are without regard to what insurance may pay for. FEMA will not pay for what insurance pays for. The amounts that we're typically working off of are the cost to get what was damaged back to the condition it was before. So there may be some reductions in that amount. There will also be some additions. As the administrator noted, we have requested private property debris removal. We don't really have that much of a ballpark estimate. I would imagine it could potentially be several $1 million worth, depending on FEMA's approval. There are requests for emergency berms that have been made, totaling about $20 million related to that project. There's going to be an approval process that we have to go through with FEMA on that. We've kind of reached out to all county department heads to get a final accounting to make sure that all the property that was destroyed is claimed and identified to FEMA within the regulatory period that we have to work within.
Any questions, commissioners? For that? No? All right.
And Horn's been working great with Rachel and Marshall and their staff, and they try to keep us in line to make sure we don't get outside the box.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Mr. Chairman, I have one item.
Yes.
The administrator let me, I spoke with Ben yesterday or the day before. He had indicated that there needs to be a federal emergency management or FEMA integrated public alert and warning system application and an MOA authorizing you, Mr. Chairman, or Ben and Marshall to sign the application and the agreement, which is it's essentially a FEMA early alert system, but they'd like authorization to sign the application and then, with my reviews, sign the memorandum of agreement with U.S. Homeland Security. If there's any question, I'll be happy to answer it. Otherwise, we'd like to vote to authorize to apply and to sign the MOA.
All right, any questions for the attorney? All right, entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner McDaniel,
Second.
second by Commissioner Rogers. Any further board discussion on this issue? Anyone in the public on this issue? Anyone in the public? All right. Any opposition to that motion? Motion passes 5-0. All right, you got the floor, Mr. Hammond.
If we skip down to the other update, I guess we need to talk about our legislative request.
Okay.
I need permission from the board to turn in our legislative request. We've been working with our lobbyist, Mr. Yeager and I, of course, spent a couple of days in Tallahassee last week. He's up there again today. They have a consortium meeting. I hope that he's going to be elected as the chair of the consortium. I think he will today, and that'll be good for Gulf County. I'd like two things, by request, unless you have something to add. One would be a revenue shortfall request, direct appropriation from the legislature. And the other would be additional monies, I'm thinking of in the 15 million range for beach renourishment, for member project requests. We have several House members have volunteered to step up to file our bill on the House side, and Senator Mumford's going to file on the Senate side. We need to get that in. The deadline, I believe, is the 4th, but that's great.
How much on the shortfall, Mike?
I haven't put the total, but it'd probably be around 5.
Okay.
This 1 year, one time, or 2 year?
Well, they're only going to do 1 year at a time. Now, that's the plan, but I don't know in the end what it will be. I think I'm going to talk about Triumph in a minute, but there may be a combination of things, and we're hearing that it's going to be a huge federal request, and then the state's going to do something different. I don't think they know yet. They are working diligently. Our senators certainly are the three are together, and they're working diligently to come up with some package. But I don't know what it's going to look like, and I don't think they do yet either.
Now, the 15 on the beach renourishment will be on top of the 10 we already have, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'll make a motion.
All right, motion by Commissioner McCrone,
Second.
second by Commissioner Rich. Any further board discussion? Anyone in the public on this? Anyone in the public? All right, any opposition to the motion? Motion passes 5-0.
Commissioner McCrone, you want to talk about Triumph?
Yes, thank you. I know originally when Triumph was set up, it was to be an economic generator, and I've just lost a little track of what's going on, because it seems like I'm not seeing anything for us, as far as our county, for us, any kind of money. Could you give us an update? And the reason I asked that, I saw one of the board members on TV last night, and I know we had submitted for some money from Triumph for us because of the shortfall in, ad valorem. And what he stated last night on TV was that money is not for that and was not going to be used for that. Just kind of, I know originally all the counties had kind of been promised about $15 million each. And at this point, we've seen nothing. And what are we looking at, 8 or 9 years? And just,
You want me to be blunt, or you want me to be nice?
just give us the,
Facts.
yeah.
Triumph from the get-go, even though it's a wonderful idea in theory, they stole our money. That group that set up, it was a brainchild of Don Gates, and now he's the president of it. But I mean, they took the counties that were affected money and put it in a fund that was supposed to be for economic development. The idea is wonderful. Take the politics out of it. That's not what's happened. And the sad thing about Triumph is, and the discouraging thing, I wish Mr. Yeager were here to talk about it more, but the clawbacks that they are requiring, just like they made us an offer, it was much less than what we requested for Eastern. Hell, the clawbacks that they require, they were never going to be able to sign that. I mean, and the same thing, we've got a huge project. I talked with Chris Hawley at length over in Pensacola. 2,000 jobs. It is an aeronautical company. It's certainly a transformational project. It's a big ask. But the clawbacks that they're requiring these companies and the counties to back up, they're taking it like it's their money. I mean, you go to the bank to borrow money easier than you can. So they have not been successful in the last couple of years of loaning money. I think they've written one check, actual check, and that's the Port of Panama City. Now, they've got a lot of these education projects. I actually heard some good news this morning from Mr. McKnight, but as of yesterday, the school board wasn't going to be able to sign that $700,000 grant from the drone because the clawbacks were too bad. I mean, it's not their money. It is money to be spent. It was BP money to be spent for the economic betterment of Northwest Florida, the 8 affected counties. Now, I do understand that they had a meeting yesterday, and they backed off of a lot of those, and Superintendent Norton now can support that. But at the end of the day, we need, I guess, a letter for Warren to take with him to that re-request that money for the school board, for the City of Port St. Joe, and for the county for that 2.5 year basically period. And I think think the mayor's here, he may want to comment, but I can't remember the exact number we asked for the city, but the school boards was the most, and then the counties for 2 years was about 3.2 for 2 years. Ours was 6.4. The entire ask was 19 point something. So, but the scary thing is if something doesn't happen, and I didn't see Mr. Bentz's interview, but based on what the senators told us yesterday, South Florida's already trying to steal this money or force it to be used for this. If they don't do something, they don't at least give the 15 million to the 4 counties that were affected, then I think there's a good chance that it goes away next year. And that would be horrible for the entire area. So if we get a letter from the board re-requesting as our project, the ad valorem tax relief for the city of Port St. Joe, the school board and the county, I think that would be appropriate for, they're going to meet next week, I think next Friday. And we need to be, and apparently, I may have misheard this, but at least 2 of the senators are going to be at the meeting.
Good. All right, so we need a motion. We send that.
Just to send a letter,
All right.
unless the mayor has anything different. No, I
Mayor,
know,
you
I know.
got anything?
Superintendent-
We're fine with it. We'll piggyback
Okay.
right with you every chance we get. That's
Okay.
what I want the city to do, to work with the county as much as possible.
And the school board, same way as Superintendent Norton, because they're actually they're going to have a bigger hit potentially than we are.
Okay, all right. I entertain a motion that we send
So
a letter.
send a letter.
Motion by Commissioner McDaniel,
Second.
second by Commissioner Rich. Any further board discussion on this? All right, anyone in the public on sending this letter back up? Anyone in the public? All right, any opposition to the motion? Motion passes 5-0.
I don't know that I need a motion, but I do want to it's been a long time since we talked about it. I believe about 2 years ago, maybe not quite 2 years ago, Don was still administrator. The board gave us the authority to negotiate with St. Joe on buying the property around the Honeyville sand site. We were ready that day, and we have a handshake agreement with St. Joe on the price. There were some reasons that they couldn't sell it because of timber easements and whatnot. We're ready to move forward on the purchase of the southern portion of that. It's in the 52, 53 acre range. I think I already have authority to purchase that, but I just want to make sure that I let the board know that I'll be concluding that in the next couple of weeks if the time works out with St. Joe.
You need a motion?
That'd be good.
So, motion by Commissioner McCrone,
Second.
second by Commissioner Rogers. Any further board discussion on this?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. We need, please, let's expedite this. We need that property. We have a project going on up there, and we sure it'd make it a lot easier if we had this property. They more or less promised it to us. And let's see if we can't get this, get the deeds to the property, and then we can really expand in what we're working on up there.
This is the southern piece, and this is the most critical to us right now because it's where we're working, and the trees have been cut on that property. So
Yeah.
this is the least complicated. It's kind of a complicated issue. There's going to be some easements sent back and forth, but we're going to try to conclude this as quickly as possible.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you, sir. I got a motion by Commissioner McCrone, second by Commissioner Rogers. Any further board discussion? All right, anyone in the public on this? Anyone in the public? All right, any opposition to that motion? Motion passes 5-0.
The last thing I have is the board gave me permission to negotiate and come up with a contract with Roberts & Roberts on the sand project. I have agreed with an agreement for them to take out 100,000 yards, a buy-sell agreement, basically, that the county attorney is going to work up a contract, and I plan on executing that within the next 7 days. That's all I have today, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, now we're down to item B. Stone Mill Creek Fire Department. Commissioner McDaniel.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, fellow commissioners, it's been too long. This project should have been finished
in June of last year, 2018. We went through a lot of work, the people that is concerned the fire station up in Weewitchka in the Stone Mill Creek area. A family up there, the Pitts family, Mr. Charles, Miss Mary Pitts, was graciously donated to the people of Gulf County approximately 2 acres to build this fire station. They've held up to their end, but we've been dealing with a contractor that I don't think he's gonna do it. And I'm ready right now, gentlemen, to just, I would go as far enough to just abolish him from having any contracts in this county, because he was a year override on the White City Fire Station. The only work that's been done on this site in Stone Mill Creek has been done by the county. We hauled dirt up, we cleared it, hauled the clay up for the base for the foundation, and as of yesterday, nothing. This contractor has done nothing. But I'm ready, let's just null void his contract. Now, that'd have to go through the attorney here. I don't know what we'd have to do, but we're gonna lose this. The state of Florida granted us $400,000. So we got a piece of land free. We got $400,000 from the state. Well, they're gonna wanna know, well, we wanna see something for our $400,000. There's nothing said they can't take it back. You know, we've had to go ask for an extension. We should have already had it built. But we've been dealing with a contractor that is just not reliable. And I'm ready to ditch him. And while we're on the subject, before we're going anything, where's my building? Mr. Bailey here? There he is. I was looking up. Would you please come up? Don't ask her. He's over our building department. And he and I have been working on this thing ever since he came on board here with us. Could you just give us a little pros and cons on this? With this building? You know, we're supposed to have a building delivered,
We went out for bid.
last, only what, in January?
January.
We don't have a building.
Yeah, we went out for bid on this project way back in June, and the contract was awarded to our contractor, which was Kathy Construction. We have failed to reach a contract with him for a long time for just not responding back to my emails, my texts, my calls, my phone calls, even our attorney's phone calls. So we was finally able to make contact, and we still can't reach to move forward with the building. He told me as of early January that the building was gonna be here January 7th. It's still not here. And as of last week, I reached for an email to him, and he's not responding back to my email as of last week. So I think you're right on that. We move forward with another contract or whatever we have to do.
All right, whatever, we have to do it by the numbers, but
Mr. Novak, could you?
I am, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I know there's been a lot of delay in this project, and I know Brian, we all know, have you been able to contact him lately, or I know we have a signed contract in place, right?
Yeah, so before the holidays, we actually had an opportunity to meet with the contractor. And like everybody else, obviously expressed the difficulties of work and homes and his subs, everyone's having the same issues. So he expressed obviously the delays that were being caused by that, but did indicate the delivery of the building as Brad just had mentioned. This month, we provided a revised agreement. Brad had put down the dates to expect the delivery on the 6 items under the contract, the revised contract, and put the values in that. So we do not have a signed agreement with regards to the values and the date of delivery. There's been correspondence back and forth, but as of today, we don't have a memorialized, finalized agreement signed by both parties. And, you know, to Commissioner McDaniel's point, the step would be to simply make a motion to terminate the award. And then the county would take a step back and then move forward with the administration and the building department as to how we can expedite and get this up as soon as possible. So that would be the legal process of which you go through. But to answer your question, Commissioner McCrone, right now we don't have a fully executed agreement. So that's why my recommendation is if it is your wish to stop and take a step back, it would be to terminate the award.
Mr. Chairman, I kind of feel with the President of the United States. He can't get a wall and I can't get a fire station to try to help the people up in that neighborhood. This is ridiculous. So I'll put a motion on the floor that we null and void the contract with Cathy Construction.
Yes, sir, just the award, just the
Yeah.
award, the awarding of it.
All right, so the motion that we, what you said, say it again, Mr. Stern, just the award?
Yeah.
So you had motioned to award the bid to the contractor, and so at this point, I would ask if that is the decision of the board, then to rescind or terminate that award, and then the county will move forward and take a step back and start the process anew. There is no contract, sir. There is no contract.
Okay,
There's no cancellation of contract. You need to terminate the award.
okay, all right.
All right, that's my motion.
All right, motion by Commissioner McDaniel,
I'll second.
second by Commissioner Rich. Any further board discussion on this issue? Any further board discussion on this issue?
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to say this,
Yes.
and I wish I had the opportunity to talk to Mr. Cathy and before we did this, but I know that there's been some circumstances going on, and with the storm and all. I know I understand Commissioner Mike Daniels' frustration, but I'm in the contracting business too, and I never want to see a man's way of life make a way of living, and I'll be voting no on this motion. So.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir?
may I please?
Yes, sir.
I called Brian and talked to him on the phone. I saw him in the store and talked to him in person. And I'm all about shopping local. I'm all about helping out my neighbor. And I begged him to sign the contract and build that fire station. And he assured me he would. He wouldn't let me down. But he let me down. So I made that phone call for you. I talked to him in person.
And I understand that, Mr. Rich, and I'm, but without me, my position is I hadn't talked to Brian, and I know he's been going through a lot of, and I understand the frustration of Commissioner McDaniel fully. And my point is, I'm just one vote, but that's going to be my vote today. So, Lee, you want to add something?
Let me come in there just.
Go ahead,
Let me
Commissioner
be
McDaniel.
recognized.
Yes,
To my colleague, Commissioner McCrone, the building should have been, it's nothing to do with the hurricane. The building should have been completed prior to the hurricane. It should have been completed months before the hurricane. Now that's, they want to lay everything on the hurricane. This building should have been complete. We should have had a big dedication up there back in May or June. It won't be done this time next year if we stay with him.
Lee, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Just remember, the building should have been here anyway. It's a direct purchase from the county. All they had to do is make the phone call, order the building has been delivered, county paid the bill. So regardless of what kind of issues might have arose with the contractor, the building not being here has nothing to do with those issues. That building should have been ordered on site and paid for by the county. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right. And my only question is, so I know, and we don't, so we have tried to reach out to Brian Heck. I hadn't had a chance to talk with him either. And so basically you're saying we get no correspondence from him. That's what I'm hearing.
Mr. Cathy's written back to me each week. I know he's spoken with us. He came and met before the holidays. It's just we do not have a finalized contract. We don't have finalized dates. We don't have a delivery of the direct purchase order of the building. So we're in the last day of the month and we still don't have any of those things. And that's what I can report to you all. So there is correspondence, but there's no definitive answers or confirmation we have a signed agreement. So there's nothing set in stone right now. That's what we can report to you in the correspondence we have once or twice a week from Mr. Cathy.
So Lee, what you told me is that was a direct buy by the county?
Yes, sir.
On the building,
That's a direct purchase from the county.
regardless of the contractor?
Well, in the contract is, he'd order the building,
Yeah,
the county pays the bill, direct contract, direct purchase, because the county does not pay tax.
right.
So that would have been pulled outside. That's no money out of his pocket, no effort on his part other than ordering the building that was on the plans, and that's it.
Okay.
So let me ask you, so if we pull back the award, all right, and we put it back out for bid, right? Correct?
I'm going to sit with the building department and look at each aspect of the 6 components that we require for the professional services and what is required to go out to bid, both with the state grant that we received and our procurement policy. We'll follow both of those to the T.
So based on this asking, I guess I'm asking, if he wanted to rebid, he could rebid for it again.
Certainly, right now, if we put it back out, there's nothing keeping from any contractor
Okay.
bidding any aspect of it.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, one other thing.
Yes, sir.
This has been going on for what, over 2 years? Over 2 years. Now, if somebody in this dropped the ball, I'm gonna be looking at you. People up there keep asking me, well, what's happening with our fire station? What's happening with our fire station? I hate to even look the landowner in the eye, because he said, you know, we done everything to get this. Whoever dropped the ball, I'm gonna be looking at you.
All right, gotcha.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Any further board discussion on this? Any further board discussion? Anyone in the public on this? Yes, sir. Joe Paul?
Mr. Chairman, I'm Joe Paul. I live at 324 Long Meadow Drive in Stone Mill Creek. And I can tell you from the residents that I've spoke to there, including the landowner who I happened to talk to Tuesday, and his comment to me was, Joe, do you know what's going on with the Stone Mill Creek Fire Department? I said, no, Mr. Pitts, I do not. But I can tell you now, those of us that are paying fire insurance with the fire department all the way up there at the prison are paying an exorbitant rate because of the distance of the fire department from a lot of our homes. It is imperative that we get this fire department located where it was so graciously donated so that we can see a savings. We definitely need a savings in our fire insurance, and the only way to do that is to have the fire department a lot closer to the majority of the homes in Stone Mill Creek as it would be now, as it should be erected and completed. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. Anyone else in the public on this? Anyone else? All right, we got a motion by Commissioner McDaniel, pulling back this award, second by Commissioner Rich. Any opposition to the motion?
I vote no, Mr. Chairman.
All right. All right, motion passes 4-1. All right.
Mr. Chairman, the next
Yes,
2
sir.
items the clerk is going to handle, and I need to be excused to go to a conference call.
All right, yes, sir. Ms. Norris?
Thank you. I have 2 items for the board to approve by vote. Sometime last year, you approved to move forward with getting Road 12 from Deseret Properties. And we do now finally have the quick claim deed. So I need the board to approve that acceptance of that road by quick claim deed.
All right, I entertain a motion that we accept.
Motion.
All right, motion by Commissioner McDaniel. Second.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Rich. Any further board discussion on this?
Now, just for clarification,
Yes. Go
Mr.
ahead.
Chairman, I'm
Yes.
sorry. Now, they're quit claiming to the county.
Correct.
That it was just something in the deed was messed up. We're correcting the deed.
Well, no, us corrected it was, you wanted to do it way back last year, and it was
Yes.
supposed to be brought up at the February meeting last year to present you with the deed. Well, the deed didn't get executed until October by Deseret.
Deseret, okay.
So, and then the storm, so it just, got lost in the process as far as, getting it before you to do your final vote on it.
Good deal. Thank
You
you.
do have it now finally.
Okay, all right. Any further board discussion? Anyone in the public on this? All right, any opposition to that motion? Motion passes 5-0. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The other thing that I have is the access and utility easement agreement between the county and Deseret on the same county road, not County Road 12, but Road 12. What do you need a vote of the board to accept this access and utility easement agreement?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
All right, motion by Commissioner McCrone.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Rogers. Any further board discussion on this issue? All right, anyone in the public on this issue? All right, any opposition to that motion? Motion passes 5-0.
That's it.
That's
Thank
it.
you.
All right, I think that's all. Mr. Mayor, you got anything you want to Got anything you want to come up and say?
I don't have anything particular, Mayor, about passing. I just want to again thank each and every one of you commissioners, all your staff, everything that's been done during this hard times we've had. You know, rebuild. We're coming back. It's just going to take some time. And again, as every one of y'all know, I'm an advocate for the city working very close with the county. We need to work together to get things done for all of our residents in the county and the city. So I commend you guys for working with us. You can count on me to always work with the county board. And I thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Appreciate
you,
it.
Mr.
Yes, sir.
Mayor.
Appreciate it. All right, see, Mr. Shelf, you see you joining us. You want to come up? You got anything you want to add?
Thank you. I came in late, missed the part about the Triumph funds, but I would add that it's important, in my opinion, not to just say, well, we've got oil spill remediation money here. Let's use it to offset state funding for the repair. I think that Triumph has a role to play in this. I think that Triumph can certainly look into loans, short-term loans for the county and the city. We've got to rebuild quick. Every day that passes that we're not getting that debris off the sides of the road is another day that the tourists is hurting them coming back. But at the same time, I would sure not be in favor of using that money strictly for hurricane recovery and letting the state off the hook for what they need to be doing. I think the state, we've seen in other hurricanes how they've stepped up to the plate, had special sessions, allocated lots of money, and spent lots of time working on it. I think we need to call on them to do that and then let Triumph use its money to bolster and diversify our economy the way that it was intended to do. And that would be my only comment.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. All right. Anyone else want to come before the board before we dismiss today? I just want to take this opportunity to thank everyone for coming out. I entertain a motion that we adjourn. Motion by Commissioner